Focus here, and here's my review on Makai Kado Raigo. That's the Madu horse of Dark Knight Kiba. This is a Tamashi web shop limited from Bandai. So as you can see here, the packaging is really huge. It won't even fit on my studio that I'm using right now. And yeah, luckily I was able to get this figure with the brown mailer box that usually came with every exclusive figure there is. But sometimes you would end up getting none because there's chances where you purchase the figure they would just throw this away. But if ever you're gonna purchase an exclusive figure or a limited figure from Bandai, or from the Makai Kado or from the SIC line, I would really recommend to make sure that your figure would come with this one, just to have something that would secure the main packaging of your figure. So yeah, nothing really fancy about this, so just to protect the main box of the figure. So so here's the main packaging of the figure. As you can see here, we do have Raigo, and then here Kiba riding Raigo. It's just a preview. Kiba is not included. I had this figure for 2 years, felt kept in the box, because back then I don't have Kiba yet. Um, so I decided to just keep it in the box until I was able to grab one last month. A few months ago, I believe, I forgot. I was able to snag one. I did a review of this figure earlier, and I hope you would check it out on my channel, and please do subscribe, please. Anyway, so the packaging we do have here, Bandai Collector Shop, of course a Bandai logo, Tamashi Nation, some information in Japanese. Unfortunately, I can't read Japanese. Yeah, some words here. Anyway, the Makai Kado logo, and as you can see here, it has the equip and prop still. So for you guys who don't know what equip and prop is, it's pretty much the first, I would say, the first wave of the toy line under Bandai that focuses more on the characters from the Garo series, season 1. So it started somewhere around 2006, and it only consists of 8 volumes. It was discontinued, and then I think on the mid episodes of its second season in the series, the Makai Senki, I think they decided to um, relabel this toy line and somehow improve the articulation, not in a way that you would think like improvement like SH Figure Arts level or Marvel Legends level, nothing like that. So it has a playability to it, but not that much. So for all of you guys who collects Marvel stuff, so just imagine how um, the articulation improved from the old Marvel Select figures from the figures that they are releasing now. Like they added more playability to it, but we know for a fact that it can still add more to it, but we can see some improvements as the time goes by. And for all of you guys who collect DC, um, imagine the comparison between the DC Direct before and the DC collectibles now. Like they added more up crunch, they added more double jointed knees, but there are some areas still that needs more addition to the articulation. So something like that. The idea is like that. Like they added more articulation. They can still add some, but that's the best that they can offer as of the moment. And it's pretty much the same with this toy line. So we may end up getting a very articulated figure probably sometime in the future, probably in the year 2099. Just kidding. So anyway, so at the side of the packaging, as you can see here, we do have Kiba here, and on the top of the side box, it says here Makai Senki. So that's the series. where these characters originated. Actually, I think Kiba came out before the Makai Senki, as far as I know. I need to check back on that. Uh-huh. So we do have here the back of the packaging. We do have here Kiba and Raigo. We do have here front and back of Raigo, and some information in Japanese below. At the bottom, nothing much to see, just Raigo. Oh, that's cool. So we do have Kiba and Raigo here at the bottom, and on the top, just Raigo. Not bad. Let's open the box. So the figure is being served technically with two trays. One that holds the horse or the Madu horse, as you can see here. So we will need to attach the head on the figure once we remove these trays on. There's the head, and then at the back, on the sides, you can see the broadsword of Kiba, and at the back, the second tray, it holds the tail. 9 tails. Also, it includes one base and stand, Tamashi base and stand, with the lace on it that we will place on Raigo's mouth later on. And of course, lastly, it came with a manual, so in case you need to check where parts should go with. Alright, so how to place in the tails on Raigo's butt. There. There. So here's Raigo without the head and out of the tray. And of course, I will show you guys where or how to put the stuff together on the figure. Let's start with the head here. So here's Raigo's head. The eye here. Eyes are here. This red detail. There's some areas here that has a solid feel to it, and the horns are really sharp. So if you have kids at home, be careful. This is something that they shouldn't play with. And of course, when you try to place this on your shelf or on your display, if you put this on display, just be careful, because once this thing falls off, I think most of these horns or some of the horns will break. It has a feel to it that once it falls off, it would just crack or break easily. It has a very nice color scheme on the mouth, and the mouth opens. Check it out. Now the head articulation, it has a hinge here. You can move that like that. Then a double hinge here, one here, there, then another one here. So there you go. So placing the head here, the peg here on the peg hole on the neck, it's a bit hard. So but if you're gonna put it, just make sure you don't hit any of these horns. Either you hurt yourself or you may end up breaking it. So here's Raigo with the head attached to it. To be honest, I had a tiny bit of a hard time placing the head on the neck. The process is a bit painful because there are some parts here that are really sharp, and at the same time, I'm trying not to put too much pressure in a way that I'm trying to avoid, breaking some stuff here, particularly the horns of this horse. So yeah, the peg hole is really tight. It's really painful, to be honest. So yeah, um, the size of the figure in length, uh, from the head, the tip of the mouth to the tail, somewhere around almost 12. I'm sorry. Yeah, almost 12. Somewhere around that. 12, 11, 11 to 12 inch. Then in height, it's very subjective because it really depends on how you pose this figure, on how you pose the legs of this horse. But estimate, let me just, this figure is really huge. I never had this figure this huge. I mean, it's bigger than Guten and Ginga. So it's somewhere around 11 or 11 and a half. So it really depends on how you pose the legs of this figure. Like I said, it's very subjective. So for other height comparisons, we do have here Marvel Select Hulk Unleash. And we do have here a DC Direct. Yeah, this is a DC Direct, not yet a DC collectible. New 52 Batman figure. And yeah, it won't fit in my camera. Come on, man. Yeah, there you go. So before with the other accessories that came with the figure, let's focus first with the details. So aside from the sharp horns here, we do have some other sharp areas where this part is a bit sharp. This part is a bit sharp, but it's on a soft, not that hard, not that soft plastic. Now it has some detailing here. That one is really sharp. I'm not 100% sure, but it really feels like a die cast to me. And then this one, it's not that sharp, but really has some lot of scale like detail on the armor of this horse. Here sharp, here soft plastic, but it can move. Check out the color scheme here, very nice. The detailing here, very nice. The paint apps, the detailing, the hardcore sculpts, very awesome. Every detail of this figure from head to toe is really awesome. Then we have it here. Then so this part moves and you can remove it here. This part moves. Then this part of the this is not exactly the tail, but it's part of his butt. It has like a ball joint on it, so it can move. Let me show you guys. So each one of these stuff move independently. So it has some ball joints. Really dope, and they are really sharp. You can stab someone using this, seriously. So yeah, and I'm not sure if you can see it. So, yeah, so there are peg holes here. Come on, focus. Let's just wait to focus. Come on, dude. Yeah, so as you can see there are peg holes here. There are 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 peg holes for the 9 tails of Raigo. So beneath, detailing here, detailing on here, very awesome. Detailing here on the neck, the back of the neck, really awesome. Beneath the figure, it has a peg hole here. There, as you can see, this is where you're gonna attach the Tamashi stand or in the base. The hoofs of this Mado horse, well detailed. Everything here is well detailed, well sculpted, Good job, Bandai. This is why I love this figure a lot. Now for the articulation, for the head, I've shown you guys earlier about this part here, so I'm not gonna emphasize on that one. But this part here on the neck can move more. So adds more movement aside from the one on the neck, on the double hinge joints on the neck, like that. Then plus there's a hinge here, right here. The second scale at the end of it, you can move it like that. So pretty much dope. Alright, it's really heavy. This part here, like the shoulder pad of this part here, moves, ball joint. This part moves. This part moves. So it can move like that. So it has a good range of motion here, to be honest, compared to Guten and to Ginga, because they don't have this kind of range of motion. Unless mine's really stiff, and I'm gonna be pissed. But so far, compared to the other two horses that I have, this one has a very good range of motion on the legs. So it can go that far. And then another one here, there's a hinge there, so it can move that far. Then another one here. So movement here, hinge here, and here. So what else can you ask for? It's really nice. This can be removed, so don't worry if yours falls off easily. It's just that it's too heavy that I have this feeling that it's kind of hard to play with this figure. Well, to begin with, it's not made to be played with. Anyhow, there's a ball joint here that moves. So on this part of the legs, hind legs, it has the same articulation points that this part here moves. Then this thing here moves. Then another hinge here, it moves. So many movements on here, hinges everywhere. Can you hear that sound? That sounds a bit addictive on my part. Isn't it weird, huh? So there you have it for the articulation. So out of curiosity, I took this leg out, this part here, just to have an idea of what I'm getting, and just to show you guys the other mechanics on the articulation of this figure. So this one is fixed, at least on my figure it's fixed, won't move, it's a ball joint. So this part here is on a ball joint, right there, ball joint. Then this part here doesn't have that articulation because I tried to move it, but it won't budge. But this part here has one. It's a hinge. And this part here, I think it's on a it's on a hinge. Then peg here, it moves kinda sideways. Just be careful that you might break it. And this part moves, so like I said, don't worry if this falls off, because you can really take this out. See, you can really take this out easily. It's not broken or anything like that. This part moves just up, just wrap around the um, the knee of the figure. No, it's on a ball joint here. Then this is one move separately. So another one here, hinge here, there, and then another one here. So it moves too. See? So hinge, hinge, hinge here, then ball joint here, there. Like I mentioned earlier, that I kept this figure in the packaging for quite some time, and it turns out when I opened it earlier, this tail of the figure has like a sticky feel to it. Probably it has something to do with the crappy weather we have here in Manila. But so I had to soak this in water with soap, and I rinse it. I just used the normal hand wash soap. So attaching these tails to Raigo's butt, what you need to take note of is that the ball joint here of these tails are made from translucent or transparent plastic. And with that being said, based on experience, you need to be careful with this kind of joints because of they break easily. Anyway, the tails, by the way, are really soft and translucent. You can see all of them are. Anyway, so by placing it here, you just need to be careful. You don't need to put too much pressure or maybe handle it like that when you try to attach it on the butt, because if you put it like that and you put too much pressure, there's a possibility that you might break this one, or you might bend it. So be careful. There, so I was able to attach the first tail out of 8 tails. I started at the bottom holes because it's really hard. You just I think I had to twist it. It's really hard. The ball joint hole is really that stiff. They could have made this part a bit more easier. It's really hard. I think if I have something to gripe on this figure, probably this would be it. So after a few minutes of excruciating pain, putting these tails on the figure, I was able to put all of them. So just a little gripe. Number one, I would think that the process of placing these tails on the figure should have been a bit more easier. I would say so. They could use maybe a peg hole, um, or like has a small hinge on it, like the one that they use on the scarf of every Kamen Rider that uses scarf. Second thing is probably use like a twist wire so you can post this tail on a dynamic post. So like if you're gonna display it on your display case, or if you're gonna do a photo shoot, you can just display this tail in a dynamic pose. So yeah, just two gripes here. But overall, I was able to complete at least almost all of the accessories. It came with the figure, just with the this thing that we need to put on Raigo's mouth. It's on a peg here. So this thread like detail here. I'm not sure what it's made of, but probably if you held a doll before, like a Barbie or that has a hair on it, it has that feel on this one. And you will attach it on here. There's a hole here near the mouth, so you're just gonna attach this thing on it, and then here. There you go. So done. Then the base and stand. Doesn't take a rocket science to identify how to set up this thing. So it came with a base. First part of the stand that has a hinge on it that has a lock sound. Just put it right there or put it on the center. It has some holes here that you can use here at the center and then at the back. Just put it like that. There you go. Then put this thing right here. I think with clear plastic it really breaks easily, so be careful when you try to use this thing, not just in this line but in any type of action figures, based on experience. Translucent plastic joints really kind of sucks, or any part that is translucent. And lastly, Kiba's broadsword. So I've noticed the tip of the broadsword. I'm calling this a broadsword, but I really forgot what this thing called in the series. But it's for the sake of this review, let's just call it a broadsword. It has a hole in this one. I noticed here that the shape of the edge of the broadsword is kind of anchor-ish shape. I'm not sure if you guys can tell it as well. But on the special OVA or the special series in Garo, when Kiba used this one, it's just doesn't have this tip. So for some reason I'm not sure why it's not like that. But anyway, it's Makai Kado. It's a spin-off of Super Imaginative Chogokin. So modernized or another different detail may be put in place. So no biggie. The broadsword has a very nice detail on this. Very nice sculpt. Check this out. Nice detailing. It's not made out of die cast. And just be careful. You might break this one. Sadly, it's not made out of die cast. So yeah. Let's place Kiba on this horse. So overall, I really like Raigo. This is a sure get figure. I highly recommend this one. It has a very detailed scalp and the paint apps is really dope. It may have a high price tag right now for this figure for a 2012 release, but who knows, you might get lucky. Keep checking, keep hunting. We have here Raigo and Kiba with the rest of my Makai Kado figures, and as mentioned on my review, this guy is really huge compared with the rest of my Makai Kado horses. So as you can see here, these are the rest of my Makai Kado figures that I have so far. We do have here Ginga and Zero and Guten and Garo, Jiaku, Bado, Lord, Crow, the one with the wing at the back, and Baron, and the only Kiwami Tamashi SIC figure that I have, Garo and Wing Guten. I really like these figures a lot. I really like the detailing despite the lack of articulation in some areas. I'm planning to expand this more. So yeah, thanks for viewing my review. Please subscribe to my channel, like my Facebook page, and check out my blog. Later guys.